Okay. Well, yay! Let's do a show. I'm glad I'm not the only one that dances to the song that Raz gave us for the show.
I love how you can see that.
Oh, I was dancing right beside you, so don't
Yeah,
be embarrassed.
it was like covered so I couldn't see it. I was like, no one can see me, right?
Okay, on this side, I can see all the guests. I
Yes.
can bring them in or out and whatever. So that's how that works.
It was a vibe. That
Yep,
song
it
is
was
a
a great
vibe.
song. Raz rocks.
Raz rocks.
Okay, welcome to Unprinted Pages, where we talk about authors and learn about them, about how they became authors, what type of stuff they like, and all types of things. Caitlin, welcome to the
Hello.
show. Please tell us a little bit about you.
So hello, my name is Kaitlin. I live in Canada. Specifically like a little in Ontario, a little town outside of Toronto. Should be notable for some people out there who might know Canada. Um, I have been a writer like as long as I can remember. Um, I've mostly write like fan fiction and stuff right now. A lot of personal stuff, but I do little things on the side. I've been published a little bit in university and stuff like that. And I also write for a website called Game Rant. If anyone's heard about that.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was cool. And I do love your articles. I love learning about the new anime I hadn't tried. And of course, Cowboy Bebop is so much my favorite that one day I actually got to hug the guy who plays Jet, Bo Billingsley. It was a
Yes.
great day.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That voice cast. Oof, I could
Mhm.
go off. So
Such
good.
those people were awesome, and all the things that they have done since then,
Yeah.
even the live action stuff. So, how did you start writing articles for Game Rant?
So it it was a time when I've been like I was looking for like writing jobs. So I had already been kind of independently employed as like a ghostwriter. So I thought like let's just keep looking for the writing jobs. So like something that I could get paid and put my name on for. So um I shopped around on like LinkedIn and stuff, and I saw a thing for Game Rant, and it was just like freelance article writer or something like that, or game news writer. And so like I applied for it, and it was just like they took it. It was like super easy. Just like I think I might have posted a couple of articles from my website from the Absinthe days. And they took it and they liked it. So yeah, they just took me on, and since then I've just been like writing tiny little articles about like video games and Reddit posts, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they look awesome. Do you plan on Oh, by the way, congratulations on being published in Dark Dreams, Ready for the Day. I
Yes,
am so happy to be in an anthology with you.
I'm so
That
happy
makes
to
me
be an
so happy.
anthology with you.
I didn't expect to meet many of the other authors. You and Mike and Patty and Raz are the main ones I get to talk to.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow,
And
there's so many of us too. There's like
yeah.
enough to fill two anthologies. I didn't know it was going to be like two versions, which makes sense if the stories are diverse enough. Like maybe it just won't fit into one mold. But like, I thought it was really cool that like there's like more horror like ones that are kind of in the
Mhm.
night one. And yeah, no, I thought that was a great idea.
Sometimes there's up to 3 anthologies.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
Ooh.
Nightmare
Okay.
Whispers was 3. Um Face Shivers was a duo like this.
Okay.
And
Wow.
there was another one. I'll remember it later. But
Look, it'll come back.
dude, there's so many, and I my brain is wrecked. I've
That's
spent
okay.
most of the day reading your articles to
Oh,
sound like I'm intelligent.
thank you. Did you read like some? Oh, was it mostly Game Brand ones, or you read the one about Cowboy Bebop? I assume that one
I
was.
read all the anime ones I could find because I'm like, oh, she has something to say about anime. I want to
Yes,
find out
honestly,
what she has to say about anime.
I would have loved to have found some way to do that in the way I do Game Rant, because
Uh-huh.
that was cool actually. That those articles come from um so up up here in Canada land in Ontario, there's a university called Trent University. There's
Uh-huh.
not to be confused with Nottingham Trent University in the UK, but we have a Trent here in Peterborough, Ontario. And when I started going to school there, I found that there was a lot of random opportunities to kind of just do writing stuff, right? So
Uh-huh.
I saw that they have like they have this magazine that comes out in print, and is like free, and they just like leave it around campus, and then anyone could just pick it up and read it. But we got paid at least I think $100 a month or something, which isn't a lot, but I mean, like, it's a student magazine, so they had their budget, right? But it was like
That rocks.
you could do, it rocked. It was so fun. Like the people that I got to work with there, like everyone doing their different articles, and I could literally, like, I was like their designated anime writer, because I only wrote about anime. Because that was like the biggest thing. It still is kind of the biggest thing in my life right now. But like, it was like I was in an anime club, so I was discovering new shows,
Uh-huh.
again. So I was like really delving into just like the shows that I like, and like analyzing them and going into like what's great about them and stuff like that. So I started rewatching shows and kind of doing like reviews there, on like a monthly basis. But it was just like it was a lot of fun to write for those. I think one of my favorite ones is the Cowboy Bebop one, and I like the one that was just like why I love anime, because it's just like
Uh-huh.
it really made me think about like what makes anime so cool to me, you know, based on like based on like um the differences between that, like Japanese media like that, and like other animated shows,
Uh-huh.
right, which have a totally different way of like conveying messages and stuff like that. And anime has its like a totally its own way of doing it, right? And it has its
Uh-huh.
like like if you think about like a Ghibli movie based on like another nicely animated movie, it's just like the storytelling can be done in such a more detailed way, and sometimes it's, I don't know, just something about it.
No,
It's just so
seriously,
fun.
I could compare Finding Dory and Ponyo right now if I was asked. Okay, I get the
Right,
full idea
literally.
because those are 2 movies I've watched recently with the littles. So
Mm.
yeah, it's like one of the most easy things to find and get lost in, but there are very big differences between American animation and Japanese animation.
Yeah, especially when done right.
Mhm. And there's some stuff to love in both. But
Yes,
right
definitely.
now, it's helping me. It can be a good teacher in teaching the kids how to see things. My whole
Yeah,
life it's children, so
it's
of
okay.
course they
Oh,
come up.
honestly, that's okay.
How to view situations, what could happen, what can't happen, because some
Yeah.
things like Monkey D. Luffy, you are not going to stretch like rubber. No, please don't
No.
jump off the coffee table like Superman. You
Have you
know?
seen the live action though?
No, I have not seen the live action yet.
It's nice. It's good. It's enjoyable. I recommend.
Okay. Okay, I will definitely do that. But yeah, I can see why anime is such a big part of your life. It's been a since my parents were alive, I've watched the 80s anime all the way till like, well, I'm still watching anime to be honest.
Mhm. It never ends. It's like an addiction that,
No,
like, doesn't go away.
I was told it was going to stop as I get older. It was a phase. And I'm
It's no
like,
phase, mom.
well, my uncle and aunt did not believe in the whole idea of anime.
Mhm.
They were they had their own ideas as holiness people, whereas my parents had totally different ideas from his uh brother and sister. Well, my dad,
Yeah.
because after they passed away, my his sister and her husband adopted us. Two different ideas on anime.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
totally, I
still
bet.
watching it, and I don't think I'm gonna stop because
It just
Crunchyroll is my friend.
yes, right? Like, that and, like, I follow so many, like I have so many streaming services. It gets crazy. Like, I, I got Amazon at some point, so, like, there's some, After the Rain, I think. That one was
Mhm.
specific to Amazon, and I wanted to watch it. But, like, I even got like I have Crunchyroll and I have Netflix and I have High Dive literally only for one show. Like, High Dive was like, "Hey, we're doing this show that you want to watch this season. We're the only ones streaming it." And I was like, "Okay, I could pay for a month." And then it hasn't ended. I haven't stopped.
I know that feeling. That's okay. Totally same idea, but totally different show. This whole reason why I started paying for Hopster because of Alpha Blocks, this UK animated show, but it has helped
Hmm.
him with words and letters and sounds. The 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And its sister show Number Blocks, which is on Amazon. It has helped him. He can do multiplication. And I am confused that my 4-year-old can do multiplication better than I can. He broke 62 down to 2
What?
with his blocks.
I didn't learn any of that stuff until like grade 4. Dude. Like,
I He just picks it up so quick. But the UK animation, the Japanese anime,
mhm.
the American animation, they're all the animation has some good things.
Yeah, it's so distinct.
And I can't find a reason not to not love parts of all of them.
Yeah.
So I do you are you still writing articles for them?
Kind of like here and there, because
Okay.
they kind of changed the way that we're picking stories now. Like, it used to be, it might be because they hired a bunch more writers, um,
Mhm.
but it used to be a thing where there would be like a lot available all at once. But
Mhm.
every time I check, it's all like picked up. So I'm like there's like nothing when I go check. So, uh, I've been meaning to make a certain time of day when I'll literally just like look at it and be like, if I find something, I'll write it. Um, but most of the time, it's just like they've changed it to a thing where most people are pitching and then writing the stuff that they're pitching. Um, I usually just kind of went off what was already there.
Okay.
Because there'd be something cool like, oh, this person made like super cool Pokemon crossover art, and I would want to write
Mhm.
about that because I really like that art that people come up with, right? Like, someone I almost
Yeah.
picked one up that was like, it's probably already up there. Someone else wrote it, but it was like someone made Dragonite into a grass type, and it was all like mossy and stuff. And I was like, oh man, like that be like the art was super cool, and I was really interested in it. But
Did
yeah,
you
it's
get
just like
the
a when I can basis.
Oh yeah. Did you get the newsletter from Fake Horror this time around?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know if I have the newsletter.
Okay. We
I
will
think
have
about
to
that.
sign you up. But
I will have to be signed up. That's true.
my daughter does a lot of art for the newsletter. And
Oh
this time
really?
around, she had decided I want to do a rhino Pokemon. So she made a rhino Pokemon named Ronica, and
Veronica, I love that.
I will have to um, find it and put it up. But yeah, it was so adorable. I was so happy. Uh,
I just love the idea of that so much. It's so cute.
yeah, let me see if I can find it real quick and bring it up. But I love all the Pokemon crossover art.
Like the fusions and stuff too. Like,
Oh
bro.
yeah, I want to try it all, and I'm trying to work my way through the pieces I missed of Pokemon whenever I didn't have the ability to watch.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much out there too now, right? Like the new anime that came out, and
Oh yeah,
then
there's like so many seasons. It's not funny.
it's not funny. But I heard that the newest one for, I don't know if it was the one for Sun and Moon, the last Ash one, that one was like received really well. So I heard.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and kind of sad too because it's the end of Ash. Like, no, I grew up with you.
Yes, it is very saddening. There it is. It's uploading. I'm proud of her Pokemon. I'm proud of her love of rhinos.
Oh, I love that groundwater.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
she
that
thought it
erotica.
through.
That is like really well done.
I shall tell her you said that. Uh, But yeah.
That's so cute. I love that.
So what did you your story in the Dark Dreams anthology?
Yes.
How did you come up with the vampire idea of that way of portrayal?
Okay. So
The cult.
I prepared this because I knew that I would forget it if I didn't. So I will bring up the little notes that I have. But I initially had like when I saw the that the anthology was gonna be like, oh yeah, submit this. This is what it is and everything. I was like, I have two stories I could use for this. I had another one and I had this one that I had um started writing little plot bits about um based on a magic card art that I saw on Pinterest. So
Mhm,
specifically um the card is, it's a vampire card. So it's like it's called Florian Voldaren Scion, and the
mhm,
art basically has like um a, a dude with like an like old timey clothes on. He's like abs McGee, and like he's like sitting in a chair above a bunch of people that have hoods on and are holding up bowls, and he's just like cutting his hand, it seems, with a sword and like giving them blood and stuff like that. So I thought this guy is a cult leader and he's a slut. So that was like my immediate thoughts on that, and I was like, I need to write this right now. So like I immediately like plotted out a bit of a quick thing, just like, okay, so there's a cult and like there's it's definitely a vampire who's heading it, and then okay, there needs to be some people that aren't affected by his charms or whatever, but he's super interested in them and stuff like that. So that's it, literally just based off that image. That's all I got, all that. I had like this whole thing where he would like fall in love with them and it would end up being like a polyamory situation, but then I was like really nervous about it because I was like initially I think I was going to be making it into maybe a long story or a novel or something. But as soon as I saw like the requirements for Dark Dreams, I was like, vampire story. I am going to expand on that and do everything with that. And this kind of kickstarted me using like Milanote, that like little software that you can use to kind of build plots or have mood boards and stuff like that. So I I went through like pictures and stuff looking for characters, and the best thing about that was like
Hi, Del.
I oh, hello. Hello Delphine. Thank you. um shit, where was I?
I totally forgot we had comments. I
Milano.
apologize, Del.
You know. So um I had like images for like the vampire guy, and I have images for the couple that were going to be like infiltrating the cult. And the best thing about it, like, do you know like True Blood, like Alexander
Mhm.
Skarsgård? Yeah. So I wanted him as one of them, and I found like a girl. Um, you know what? I found the girl first, the girl that I used in my head to portray Lily, and then by association, I found pictures with her and Alexander Skarsgård, and I was like, "This is perfect. We got couple pictures because they did a movie together, I guess." So I was like, "This is great. I can just like put this in my mind. This is them like doing like stuff together, and it helped me build like a sort of story in my mind for the relationship." And like, it was my first time really using that kind of to like build a background for characters and stuff and give them something to go off of. So when I put them in the story, it's like they already have an established thing. And yeah, and the vampire was fun to write too. It was um yeah, I for some reason I just really really wanted his name to be like super cheesy. So like
Mhm.
I just looked like, okay, like Latin names. What can I find that sounds like really like love interesty, and like of course like Valentin come up, and I was like, yep, that's his name. And and he's Portuguese. I don't know why. That's where that came from. That was a
It's
little long-winded, but
yeah, I had no idea as how you chose Portuguese. I found a castle of what I think the castle would look like
that was
now.
so, when I saw that, I was like, that's it. That's the freaking castle.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved it. Um
I'm glad you
I
liked it.
had Are you going to continue continue the story and make it a novel?
Um maybe, like, I had a lot more planned for it that was a little confined by the word count. Um, like me thinking like I already have like stuff that like I've written that like you know when you like when you write it just like goes, right? Like
Oh
there's a
yeah.
difference between like when you're writing a 10,000 word essay and a 10,000 word story, right?
Yeah.
So big difference.
Oh, there is a
So
big difference. One can be easier than the other.
for sure, like it was so bad.
One can just be like sometimes it just pours out of your brain.
Yeah, literally, like it'll just like
And
come out, and then that's that, right?
and then the other one you feel like you're ripping out your teeth trying to get something on the page.
Yeah, it's really weird how easy it feels, right? So when you go to do an essay, it's like, what the hell? What am I doing with my life? But I had all this like all this stuff planned, so I thought that writing like a 6K word story, I'd be able to write that in there, but like I should know in trying to write and like 1,000 words once for another. Just I sent that off to a contest a long time ago. It's one story I wrote that was like 1,000 words. I was like, I felt so confined, you know.
Oh yeah,
Not
it is
that
confining.
it is
I
confining, like, but I understand having word counts for an anthology. You can't take over the
I
whole book,
am
right? It
that
makes sense.
confined every month.
Literally, like, so I decided like I'm gonna start this in the middle of things. I originally had it that was a thing where they were being briefed, and then they're gonna go into the that you'd see the cult like first impressions, right? But this is
Mhm.
a thing where they've been sitting in the cult for like a month, and they haven't seen this leader that they were sent in to like observe or like maybe stop. I think I had it as a thing that they were like gonna like try to stop him because like people in the cult have been like dying, and they're like the local villages are just like, we want our people back. They don't know what they're doing, right? I didn't even get to establish anything of that, but I'm pretty sure that vibe went out there somehow. But like I even just like what life in the cult was like, right? Because I I think I established that pretty well, but I was like really wanting to have like scenes where they were just like wandering around doing setup stuff for this like hi Duffy doing setup stuff for like the whole ceremony or whatever. But yeah, maybe I might
I
do
like
more
it.
with that.
That would be great because there's so much you can do. Because Dr. Bacallion wrote two stories about this one set of characters. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna redo parts of that and make it into a novel. And then that novel is fantastic.
Oh, it's awesome.
Grey Dawn. I don't know if you've heard of her or her book yet, but yeah, you can take it and you can do so much more.
Yeah, I think I might at some point. I did love writing it. It was a lot of fun.
That will
So
rock.
I just woke up, so forgive me. Oh,
It's okay. I've
That's
been
okay.
working
We're
all day.
happy you're here.
Surprised my brain is working right now.
Well, this is stuff you love. Sometimes it's just easy
Yes.
to talk about stuff you love. It's
Yeah, I
like
was
your
worried I
fan
was going to be
fiction.
so tired. Yeah, like my fan fiction. Yes.
I
I
didn't
love
know if
fan
you
fiction.
were awake, so I didn't send you anything until I found out you were awake, and I wanted to wait till you were on to talk about the fan fiction.
So
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, Dill's my fan fiction best buddy, and now I've added
Awesome.
a new fan fiction buddy. So
New fan fiction
yay!
buddy. Fan fiction
And
buddies.
I'm also a Magic the Gathering player, so I love that you did that. You came up with
Yeah, dude.
inspiration for Magic cards or Magic fan art type
I
stuff.
didn't even
That,
I didn't even know that it was a magic card until I like googled the picture at one point. I was like, it's a magic card. Okay, that makes complete sense. Like
I had pets named after them. I had snakes and kittens, and I had like Commander Krevin Ilvek, and you tap it a couple times to irritate everyone. Was like I changed it to what the kitty would do. Like,
Oh,
it attacks everybody in the room. And
I love that.
That is awesome.
so your fan fiction.
So, what do you guys want to know about my fan fiction?
Which series is you write it about, where to find it, and if you will post links later in the book club.
Oh, yes.
You
Yes.
are in the Fake Horror book club, right?
I think I am. Yeah, I think you added me to it, so I'll do that.
Well, I know I added you to the main page. I just don't know about the book club. If I haven't, while you're telling me about that, I will make sure.
Okay. So, right now, I originally okay, so in the bygone era when I was like in grade school, we used to post fan fiction to like quiz websites. It was like Quizilla. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but it's long gone. But we used to like write stuff and put them on there. Um, we don't talk about those times because we used to write about real people back then, and that was really weird. I still don't understand why I thought it was okay, but it was a trend with my sister and me and like some online friends. But that's where it started.
I mean, as long as you didn't go too far, I was always kind of weirded out when I'd read some of the real people fan fiction. If they said it would, because I never really set my filters to, I set my filters to read anything, and all of a sudden it was like people would write about like the actors in a show doing things that they wish the characters in the show would do together in bad scenes, and I was like, I don't know that that's okay.
Like,
to write,
yeah, it's
erotica, now that I was,
I wouldn't. I was luckily I was too young to do that.
Okay, yeah.
I think I was like 7 or 8, not 7 or 8, like grade 7 or 8. And that's like I don't know. That was the thing. We would write. We were really into like some bands, so we would pick the guys that we like really liked, and it would be like a self-insert thing. It's really embarrassing to talk about now, and that stuff is like only in notebooks that no one is ever gonna read. But I used the first time I actually posted fan fiction about like pairings and stuff like for fictional characters was on fanfiction.net.
I'm on there every day.
Right. I read more than I wrote for that. Because I find that I get more engagement on Archive of Our Own. So that's where most of my stuff is now. Yeah. So and plus my friend is like on there a lot. She sends me a lot of links for it. So I just thought, okay, like this is my new community. So I only have like 2 things on like fanfiction.net, and then I kind of migrated over to Archive of Our Own. So I actually have my page open so I can remember exactly the things I write for it. So,
hey, that makes sense because nobody has seen my Yu Yu Hakusho fan fiction since high school. So,
right? Like you really, I find that it's a little easier to share on Archive of Our Own to have people see it, like with the algorithms and stuff they have, or like when you post something that goes immediately on the top of the homepage of the tag or something, or the pairing, or I don't even know what are the tags. So the first, I think, according to fanfiction.net, I think the first story I posted was like for Dragon Age, and I think I posted that to Archive of Our Own. So I have some Star Wars that I write for, because I'm really into Finn Poe. So I wrote like three for Finn Poe. One of them is like a series I'm like kind of doing ongoing very slowly. I have a Dragon Age one that I'm working on. I wrote a lot of Overwatch ones back when I was really into that, and like the pairings I liked for that. Um, I have actually my most popular one is like something I wrote for like for Overwatch, and it was just like, so the pairings that I had for it were like Genji and Mercy and Hanzo and Cassidy. He's Cassidy now. I literally almost said the old name, but it was like a thing where it was like a family reunion, and like it's like a fake marriage situation, and it's I guess it's like people like how funny it is and like how like awkward it is, and like yeah, that's my most popular one on there. And I don't think about it very much, but once in a while I'll still get kudos, and I'm like, people still read this.
I have one thing posted on AO3, and I won't say what category it's in. It was my one attempt at doing something kind of erotic, and so I've changed like the names. Like my name. I've changed everything so that it can't actually come to me, because I'm like, okay, I will own if I put up some Harry Potter or some Naruto. I will totally own that. But this one, I was just like,
it needs to be separate.
And it wasn't bad. Like, I think I wrote a decent story for that genre, but I still am like, I don't want it to be.
It's just how dirty it is, right? It's just like, you gotta put it out there. Like,
it's like, okay, if it's rated above R, then no. And I changed the way I write since then. It was the only time I ever attempted putting that kind of a scene into something, putting lemons into something. And I was like, okay, so apparently I did really good with the lemons. And I don't write like that with anything else other than fan fiction for some reason.
Yeah.
So
something about
none of my characters, they all fade to black if something happens,
That's fair. That happens. I do that a lot. I've only written one real smut. One real erotic scene that was like, that I finally posted recently. It was like years ago that I wrote it, and I was like, I don't know where this is going to fit in, but I need to write this right now. And so it's from my Dragon Age one, and it was just like, so because like when you do that, that's all fade to black, and I was like, okay, I need to know how they would do this in my mind, right? So it's like,
that makes
I need
sense.
Feelings, I need the images, I need details. So it's not fair. Like particularly like erotic or like like crazy in any way. It's literally just sex, and that was like my first time writing that, and I was like really surprised at like how much I kept like reading through it and kind of like liking it the way I did it, and like I was happy to finally post it. And I have friends who are saying that they want to read it out loud to other people in our chat, and that'll be a fun experience.
It is weird because you're like, okay, I don't want to use this term because this term, like anymore when I'm reading, I used to read for this month. I swear, sometimes there's honesty.
Yeah, no,
some of it, every now and then,
no judgment. Yeah,
like
it just happens.
But now there's a lot where if I'm reading it, depending on what genre or what fandom it is, I'm just like, okay, and I'm just gonna scroll. And I'll see if there's anything in particular that's said that like I need to know about. Like, does somebody admit something in the heat of the moment? But otherwise, nope. Okay. Oh, and then they're done. Okay.
Yep.
So
that's it. Done.
Yeah, it started to. I read a lot of Harry Potter fanfic, so sometimes when the characters are young, I'm like, I don't really need to know what they're doing.
No. It's not. If they're really young, you don't need to. I think if they're teenagers, that's one thing. Like figuring themselves out or whatever. It depends.
Yeah.
But like if they're kids, like don't write. No.
Yeah.
When they're over a certain age, definitely. Like, because I'm glad that there's older stuff between like Hermione and Snape, or
I love that pairing.
her
when they're adults.
When they're adults, I was about to say like
yeah, when
yes,
older
when she's
stuff
an
as in
adult,
they're
yes.
adults, and then of course Malfoy and Harry. There's stuff about that everywhere.
Hermione and Snape is an interesting pairing I haven't heard of before.
One of my other favorite pairings. Oh, it's all over. But there is one that I do enjoy when they are. It's one of the marriage law fics. And she is still in school, but she'd use the time turner, and it's not like focused super on the sex part. It's just her trying to figure out adult relationships and him trying to figure out a relationship in general is the majority of what's put into it and stuff. And then but there's a lot of stories in that one where it's like people are paired off with random people because they are forced to be, just because of something. But yeah, usually I prefer though to skip over to the other ones. But that one has some interesting things as far as teaching people. I think that's something that people do really well.
Yeah.
And are able to do in fan fiction is take an established universe and use it to teach people like different social lessons or just like life lessons in a setting that they're familiar with and characters that they're familiar with that maybe didn't go through those kind of growths.
Exactly. That's what I love. That's one thing I love about fan fiction, for sure. Just reading it. Like, I don't know if I've done anything that like particularly would like teach people something, but I mean, it's just like based on your experience going through something. Like, for example, like I keep talking about the Dragon Age one because that's the one that's like always on my mind. Like, I have so many other fandoms I've written for. Oh no, I hope it wasn't lit. Holy crap!
Yeah, it is, and it's on the floor beside
girl.
my desk, so I need to get to it. Okay, there we go.
But I spend a lot of time in that one.
On fire.
kind of going through like figuring out like how to talk to someone when there's like some social obligations that make it sound like you can't do so because there's just like miscommunication between them, and then just like, oh no, well I don't want to go and like talk to him about my feelings when he probably doesn't want to, and he'd be like, oh no, like I ditched her, she definitely should hate me, why is she like even including me in anything or whatever. I don't know. There's the smut basically just comes from her just being like just showing up spur of the moment and then just like horny. Just they're not back together yet. It's just they're just gonna fuck because I said so.
Hi, I need you.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, I literally.
We'll talk later.
Yeah. And then she leaves in the morning and I'm writing, or did I post it? I posted it.
We're getting a preview.
I wrote the aftermath of that. That was just like her showing up at a bar and her friends there, and she's like, I just went and slept with him. What the fuck was that? Like, why did I do that kind of thing? And I don't know how I'm gonna get them to talk, but I left it on a cliffhanger, so we'll see what happens.
I've been there,
yes,
man.
We need to know.
Where you sometimes just like there's just so much tension that you can't even talk, and so it's just like, let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah, there was a lot of pining. There needed to be something else. Something had to happen.
Sorry. She's like, okay, did you get that cigarette back? I'm gonna sit down with you. Okay.
Yep. All good.
Sorry, I needed my jacket and kid needs things, so he's going to the store. So that sort of thing.
Okay.
We're just talking fanfic.
Oh yeah, we're just talking fanfic at this point. We already talked about my story. Now we're just talking about fanfic.
Oh yeah, dude, let me look at
that. I look at my should be writing and I'm like, past projects. Okay, I have a Naruto fanfic that I could pick up again because I had all these great plans for it. It's a Shino and Hinata pairing. I love Shino. He's maybe like one of my favorites. Everybody's like, oh, he's gross and he has bugs, but it's like that he's really cool and stoic, and he does have a lot of passion when he's willing to show it. But most of the time he's just like hanging out over here in my shades.
Sorry, my mom showed up for a second, and I was not aware that she was home yet. So I was like, "Hi, hello, okay."
I know that
Fun
feeling.
podcast, Mom. Getting
Yeah,
interviewed.
I've had one of those moments.
Invasion. No, no.
I am hiding on the porch, so yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
going on with that.
Hinata's just like, you've been asleep all day. I'm going to sit in your lap now. I'm going to purr. I'm going to knock your cigarettes on the floor and then come back when you. So if you hear purring, that's the cat in my lap. That
Always appreciated. We love the cat.
Oh, yeah.
We always love the kitty cat. I have no idea where mine is. I'm just hoping the little dog across the street would stop messing with my dog.
Oh, fair.
So, do you plan on joining any more fake horror anthologies in the future?
Yes. I've been thinking. Yeah, I've been thinking about like depending on what it is. Like if like I'd love to do this again. Like I was so excited when I got like picked. I was like, because I've been like brushed off so many times. Like I've sent stuff to competitions and then like it didn't, you know, and they always ask for unpublished work. Like
Patty
stuff that's
doesn't
like
care if it's published. She just needs to know
That's what
where
I
it was
love.
published before.
that's what definitely caught my eye about this because I was like, one, I can get paid for it. Two, I can just pick anything, like whether it's published or not. And it's still I also like that it still kind of remains mine too. Like I have to, sign a contract for it, but it's like just permission for you guys to publish it, right?
Yeah,
So like
you get the highest amount of money at this publishing company for the sales compared to others because they want
yeah.
50 to 75, whereas she gets the 25 for cost of publishing and whatever, and
Yeah,
you get
because
the
there's cost. Yeah.
75% of what was sold.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a great keep a spreadsheet and list all of your stories. Put if they've been published somewhere, and if not, if they're out somewhere, because a lot of places do not want you. If you submit to two places at once, and then you get accepted in one, and then it's like, oh, you got to pull yours from the other, and it's like, what if you would have made the other one and you wanted that one a little bit more?
Yeah.
But and if you've made revisions since then, so that maybe that company's looking for something and you've changed it, and the formatting is the biggest problem. Yeah, because if you send something, if they ask for like the Stern format, if you do not use Stern exactly, it'll get thrown out before it's even read. They just see like, oh, that's not a third of the way down the page exactly. Nope, it's gone.
Yeah,
they really follow directions.
Like,
I love that Fake Horror pays royalties, and another company that I'm with too. Raz and I are both in over. Oh, I can find it. Oh, over there. Fractured Mind Publishing. Our friend Stefan runs it, and he does the royalties thing as well.
Okay.
But like I have some that I've written to where they just pay you per word, and you get one free copy.
There was one that I saw. Okay, that's probably like it's November now. Yeah, the deadline was November 1st. I didn't really have an idea for it, but it was a per word one, and I thought that was interesting because I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, with a lot of those, though, it's more about getting to meet the other authors, getting to be in things with authors that are like bigger names too, because a lot of them will submit a lot of stuff. And usually, once you're talking about copyright and stuff, they own like the copy. They have the rights to your book for maybe like a month, or just as long as it takes to get it published, and then you can have it back. Yeah, that way you can later on. Like I'm going to make. I've been doing a lot of different stories about Cthulhu Mythos stuff, and I set them all from this person who's Althea Smythe, and she's chronicling all of the things that she's come around collecting and stuff. And so I can make my own anthology of my own stories that have been published everywhere else eventually when I get enough accumulated.
And that's what Serena Musgraves did. That's what Serena Musgraves did. She collected, a lot of them have been published at different places, and some of them hadn't been published at all. And she just made her own anthology of her stories.
I've thought about doing that. I have some random short things. Like the only things fiction that I have had published that I probably couldn't use, depending on like, because like, so this is like one of the anthologies I was in for school, right? With the Trent
Oh,
Writers
that's cool.
Society. It is really cool. A girl did a whole art for that. It's really, I saw it in person. Like this
Can I
one
make
part
that?
of the
I'm gonna pull
moon
it
is
up.
like tinfoil. It's really cool. Anyway, yeah. It's called
The
Constellate.
background
Yeah,
is
it's really bad. Yeah, the background. Yes. It's really cool.
There we go.
But there's no like clear like kind of copyright or anything on it. It's literally just like, well, there is copyright, but it's just like for the cover image and stuff like that. But like it was just literally Trent Writers Society, right? So it's like anything they sold was kind of like, I think they think this one might have been free. I don't remember. But it's kind of basic, like all the kind of contributions and then like the format. For example, this is mine. Like it's just like a couple pages. And I kind of like had this one came from an image as well. But it's not like something that they're constantly making money on, you know? So I'm just thinking about it that like yeah, it's published, but it's not published with like anything like super professional. So like sometimes I wonder if that even counts, even though like it does.
count.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, like as yes, I do think about it like as I was published, but I mean like for copyright. That's what I think about.
Yeah, and
because like
you can always ask them.
Yeah, because I don't think like, and like the girls that we published that for, with, even the artists, I think they've all graduated by now, so I don't know if it even matters. So I'm like, yeah, I was super excited to be published in those too, because like they look so cool, right? It's a bound book, right? Like it's legit. I think I was published in like 2 of them, 3.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was all short stories, right? Like that's one of the shortest things I've ever actually written to be put in something.
Well, but then you get to network and you get to meet all of the different authors and the publishers that are in that, and then you get friend them, and then you get to meet the other people that they work with. And I think anthologies are great for networking and giving you a chance to meet so many different people. That's how I met Steve Nancy. I'm required to like do his name in a special way whenever I'm on this network. So.
Fair. Super fair.
He's like one of my favorite authors now. And he's like in groups. I've done shows with him. I've met him. He's signed my stuff. So
yeah. He signed it and drew you a picture?
That's amazing.
I got to meet him over at the first con I went to in the end of July in Connecticut. I'm in Nebraska, and so I went all the way to the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut for Terrificon this year. And like he's part of my other network, and so he was there for a day doing stuff, and I was just like, so I brought the already autographed numbered version I bought twice. You need to sign it for me again. And so he did, and he gave me a doodle as well of one of the main villains. So I was just like,
over and beyond.
I am a Van Samson knight, is what they've decided. But
I see.
Yeah, I might be the Van Samsonite right now, but I am definitely.
What do you call the Delphine fans?
Crazy.
Of course. It's not like Looney isn't one of the surnames of my family. Now, come on.
You know, part of the attempted murder.
Yes.
Yeah. Since I'm a crow.
Murder.
Yeah. That's one of my. I have a Discord site for some of my friends that is the attempted murder, since I have a raven in there as well.
I see. Murder.
And well, I'm a crow, but my raven is my raven, and he joined, so we've got the attempted murder going on over there.
I love that it's a murder of crows. Like,
it's awesome.
Murder. It's so badass. Like,
it's perfect, and
it is.
And a lot of people they like to identify with the murder of crows, but then they're like, yeah, but ravens are like the real cool ones, and it's like, Yeah, ravens are exceptionally cool birds, and I love my friend Raven as well. But
Yeah.
I identify with crows more. I, Hi, we're watching. This is Caitlin's interview. While we're talking about why Delphine identifies with crows. Um,
I don't know. My plan was to ask each of you what your fans would be called, and
Oh.
oddly enough, my idea. Well, I had been an owl forever before I even met any of you guys. So yeah, what would the Kaitlin Meaney fans be called?
I don't know. I think it might depend on like what if I ever publish a book, like what that's about. You know
are they
what?
going to be? You don't want them to be meanies because then it
They
would sound
could
like
be
all your
mean.
fans are hostile. But so would the murderers.
We could be
So
your cupcakes.
Oh god! Oh, it could be. We could go along with the cupcake thing. That's a good idea. You guys can be cupcakes.
Yes, I'll be a cupcake.
you could be
I'll be
okay.
part of the attempted murder. I
Were you
have been
here?
an owl longer than I've known what a Raz was.
Were we live and we were talking about my username stuff?
No, we weren't at
No.
all. We
Okay.
hadn't started yet.
Okay. Yes, I was. We talked a bit before, so I was like, "What have we?" Like, it's blurring together. But I was telling Jenny earlier that all of my usernames have like for anything, for Instagram, for like Twitter, like it's Katie Cupcake something, right? So
Okay.
and that came from like an ex-boyfriend's sister. Like she just called me like Cupcake on a post or something once, and I was like, I like that. We'll do that. We'll put a K on it and make it like an alliteration because I said so. Like so like um yeah, that's a little like less edgy than what I would have wanted to do. Like I was a really edgy teenager, so I was like, what can I put on like a username or something that has a K that sounds edgy as fuck? And kerosene came out of that. So at one point I was like Kaitlin Kerosene on stuff, and then it went to Katie Cupcake on like everything except for like Twitch, which is like Kerosene Cupcake. That's the only thing that doesn't have my real name.
It's the
But
Cupcake Arsonist Squad.
it's the cupcake. Oh, I like that. There you go.
I just see like all these adorable little cupcakes out with Molotov cocktails and like.
Oh yeah. They could be that's what they could be called. There you go, cupcake arsonists, or just cupcakes. I do like the idea of both. Either way could work.
That
Yeah,
is awesome.
I have weird usernames. Everything has become Delphine over because of a character that in a video game, and that's when I started on Discord, and then it just kept going and became this huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like more people know me as Delphine, I think, than know me as me. It's so strange. And then when I get guests on that are like know me as this host's name, they're like, "What do I call you?" And they get confused. And
what would you like to be called?
Tori, why are you called Delphine? You're a crow. Okay. Are you going to sit there and caw through the show? And I'm like, no, I don't do that. This is an educated crow.
Yes.
You know, very, very posh crow.
Yes. With the top hat and everything.
Yeah. But my mom had a pet crow when she was a kid. They found a couple that had fallen out of their nest and they raised them and they speak.
They're so smart.
Yeah, they're super, super intelligent. And they ended up having to take it out when it got big enough to fly and stuff out to her either her aunt or her great aunt's house, who lived out in the country. And it hung out there for the rest of its life, and it would like yell at the dog, and the dog would be running around trying to figure out who was calling it because it's not looking up in a tree. And like when people would come driving up the lane, it would like say hello and talk at the people that were arriving and stuff.
Birds.
They're so weird.
They're so weird. I've been following this. I'm really blanking on like the Instagram handle for this, but it's like a thing. It's like milk something 6,000 or whatever, and it's a guy who puts out food for birds, and it's like he specifically has these crows that come around every time. So it's just like he'll be like, "This is what we have for the crows today," and it'll be like some like challenging thing for them to like find nuts and like a bundle of this, or like they have fruit, or he'll have like, oh, we'll see if they like chicken today or something like that, right? And then like
Yeah.
every time the crows come in, it's just like the crows are here. And it's one of those like automated voices that are on TikTok. So it's like the one that's just like old Southern man. So he goes like, the crows are here. And then they have a little celebration animation of the crows, and then it's just like watching the crows get the food or whatever, and it's so cute.
Oh, you got to send that to me. My Instagram isn't working right now, but I'll figure it out.
Yes, I have you on Discord,
that.
so I can find it. I can find it and send you one.
Yeah.
But I literally just cannot remember for the life of me right now. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've watched crows. They can incite other birds into mobbing, and oh god,
I felt shit disturbers.
I felt so like I lived at this place like 15 blocks from here for a while, and you'd see them like they would get into the trash, pull out like a half of a hamburger that had been wrapped up and thrown away, pull it out of the bag, stand there with one foot on the wrapper, and like open the wrapper and eat it because they are super smart, you know?
Yeah.
And the neighbor across the alley who lived at the very top of the building, it had one of those staircases that like wrapped around kind of and went down. Only like 3 or 4 stories up, but they had this huge Persian cat, just gorgeous, long white hair. And they would let the cat out every day. And we're going to call it Fluffy because I can't remember what its name was. They'd be like, okay, Fluffy, go have some fun. And as soon as it would get out, you'd hear these, and like the cat would bolt underneath the stairs and like go hide in a bush because the crows would start calling, and then all of the other birds in the area would start coming, and they would be dive bombing this poor cat as it's running, terrified for its life, to like hide underneath somewhere before it got killed by all the birds. And it's just like, you're just torturing that cat.
Literally, like, he's just trying to exist outside.
Yeah, this is the middle of a city. You don't let your cat out for fun when you're by one of the main streets in town and stuff anyway. Just your cat's gonna get killed by the birds.
There's and or anything. Like lots of people are like, my sister works for a vet and she's really, really adamant, like people don't let your cats out, right? Like because they could get run over by a car, and they're technically an invasive species. So when they go and breed and stuff, or they're eating grass or whatever. So I mean, like, there's a lot of things pointing to that not being like the best thing for nature. But like,
they'll kill everything in the neighborhood too. If
literally, like my ex's cat, I dated him for so long. That's like years ago. Like, he had this cat that they would let outside all the time, and she got hit by a car. It was like, it's not funny, but it was like so like sad. Like she was just like out there, and it's like that's the risk that you take letting your cat out sometimes, right?
Like the kids have learned the property lines. It paid attention, and I don't know how. So it stays pretty close to the house.
That's good.
And after bopping a couple of squirrels and the neighbor's dog on the nose a couple of times, it explained to them that this is my yard. I'm going to be in this area in front of the house. And you're just going to have to deal with it. So yeah.
That's fair. Like that's a like good scenario for a cat to be outside in. Like, just if they want to hang out in the lawn, if they want to hang out in the backyard, like see some squirrels or whatever.
But I'm also in the middle of nowhere in Newton, and the vehicles are far and in between.
Okay, that's good then, yeah.
See, I live next to a major intersection and a school, and there's traffic all the time, and I worry about, there's a lot of my neighbors have indoor-outdoor cats. Like my downstairs neighbor, his window literally opens at ground floor because he's kind of like basement, but it's like half basement. Like the window would be about waist high, but it's right even with the ground level where it opens there. And so he'll open it up, and like he has furniture, and the cats just hop up and go wandering around. He takes the screens off them. And my mom, like I've had something that's been climbing on my screen on the second floor. And at night, usually about like 2 or 3 in the morning, about half the nights over the past 2 weeks. I can never see anything. I'll look out and try to catch something, and I can't get over to the side that it's on, but when I look, I don't see anything. And when she was leaving after dropping me off the other day, she's like, I think I figured out what it was. There was a raccoon, like a younger raccoon that was running around through the thing. And it's just like, okay, time to tell the cat owners, because a raccoon isn't going to go after a cat, but a raccoon will fight a cat like mad, you know? So, speaking of cats, she's whining.
Just making noise.
Yeah, but, I mean, like, we have, my favorite are my neighbors who have geese, and they're across the alley, and like they're like guard geese. They're just pets. And like if you go to put out the trash, and because that's right in the alley where they are, right by our trash can. So I haven't checked on them for a while, but if you go over there, they'll come running up and like hissing at you, like, because geese are scary.
Wow. Yeah, geese are dicks.
I mean, the United States government uses Canadian geese as like sentries on some of their properties and stuff, and it's
can confirm crazy. It works. Like,
nobody. Yeah, I just expect all the people in this neighborhood are like, yeah, man, I got my pit bulls, I got my this, and everybody's like,
bitch, I got my geese.
Yeah. Nobody expects a goose either. You're like,
no,
psyched up for a guard dog, and then all of a sudden, like, this hissing monstrosity comes flying at you. Well, they don't running at you like.
I get so terrified when, like, so my dad and I run together. So there's a certain path that we go around that's like a place where geese like to hang out. So anytime there's like a crowd of them, it's like, I hope they're not there. I hope they're not on the path. Like, but they're always like, thankfully, just off to the side eating, and it's just like. In spring, it's terrifying because you're like the babies. They're going to be protecting the babies, right?
Oh yeah.
I've had them like on either side of a path before, and it's like, yeah, just hiss at me. I'm nothing to see here. Like,
so where we lived in Caldwell, the park had like this pond thing.
Yeah.
But it was a great kid park, so we'd have the birthday parties for the girls there. And Josh had to run at them, like moving his arms up and down, like screaming at them to get them away because they misunderstood what we were doing. And all she wanted to do was like run around the little overhead pavilion thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. They're no better up here, don't worry.
Yeah, one of my friends from Canada is like, she hates the geese and she hates squirrels. Apparently Canadian squirrels are particularly vicious. You look like that's true.
They're hit or miss. Like, my dad has a bunch of like bird feeders that he has outside in the backyard. So we had to really work to make sure those squirrels weren't taking the seed. Once there's food, they're a little like aggressive. Like we also have like a kind of system, not right now because we're getting the kitchen renovated and that's exactly where the door is that we do this, but we have blue jays in our area, right? So you guys know what blue jays are, right?
Yeah, bastard birds.
Yeah,
they're corvids, but they're bastards.
They are pretty, they're quite dicks. But they like peanuts, so we have like a bowl of peanuts that like we toss out to any of them that come up, and they're like, ooh, hello. Like, we've kind of low-key trained them to be like, stand on the deck and then you will get a peanut. But sometimes one of them will just take two of them, and it's like, there's two birds. We put out 2 peanuts for 2 birds. Why are you being so greedy? And they'll fight over it too, and it's kind of funny watching it, but they're dicks.
Yes.
Instead of cockfights, you have blue jay fights going on.
Yeah,
which one's gonna
literally
win?
I've taken a few videos. There's been some stories about some Instagram stories about whatever the Blue Jays are doing that day. I missed them though. I can't wait for our kitchen to be done.
Did we miss anything on your list of things you wanted to talk about?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you said you made a list of things you wanted to remember to talk about.
Oh, because I figured that you would ask about the the story and what inspired it. So I wanted to remember what the what the magic card was called. I talked about my fan fiction. I went to technically film school, but it was like mostly a screenwriting program. So I wrote a script that went to film for like a really, really short like video that was like a student all over faculty project. Like yeah, when I went to university, that was for English literature, so I learned more about writing. And I went to and I had like a writing club there, where we would read out our work, and that was like terrifying but also fun. And I did a creative writing class there, but it was mostly just like, you know, reading and analyzing books. But I thought like, okay, I could see, like, I have novels, and from that I have novels that I've been working on literally for years. But I mean, I'm such a perfectionist. I'm like, it's not ready yet. It's not like they're not even finished. But the ideas I have for those all came from university. Sorry?
It sounds like somebody I know.
What? Oh.
What? Who?
We're live? Oh, okay.
But then I decided like I'll try screenwriting, like another option for like a writing career, right? So it was a short year-long college program at George Brown College, and it was literally like the first year of that program. It was like screenwriting and narrative design. So we learned like screenwriting for movies, screenwriting for TV, like episodic, how that would work, the business of like the entertainment industry as a screenwriter, and writing for interactive stuff. So we kind of learned a little bit about like how video games are written and like the structure around that. And we even got the chance to build our own world. And like, is it called Fate? Have you guys ever heard of do you guys play D&D? Do you know D&D? Yeah. Okay.
I've been playing, yeah.
Have you ever heard of like Fate as like a role-playing game?
I think it's called Fate. I'm going to be honest and say that it sounds familiar, but it could have been something else called that too. That I might. It's not something I would go like, oh yes, I know that.
I know it's really obscure. But I didn't know about this until like school. So they use like this dice that's like plus and minus. It's a really interesting way of playing a role-playing game. But it's an easier way for you to kind of like build your own world and use that system without D&D complications, I guess. I don't know. It was something he picked, the prof picked, and it was like, okay. And we like made characters, and we kind of each had a turn in running it for like a week or something like that. It was like one guy and then me, and then like we all had to kind of write our own little one shot. And that was fun. But yeah, so the faculty project was like a thing with like the visual effects artists people, like those students, and like the screenwriters and the actors, and like it was like a whole thing. And like it was it's supposed to be like an interactive video. I don't think they actually like finished it because it was like everyone was busy with their own like homework and everything we needed to do for school anyway, so I guess it was just not planned well. But like we all got our scripts out and in like at good times, but it might have been just other things. But it was essentially like the visual effects people, they had spaceships that they designed and stuff. So we had to kind of write around that as if it was like people in the near future or whatever going to a kiosk and kind of picking out a ship to take to wherever they were going to go. So it was almost like in like space Uber kind of thing. Right? Nice. But it's not like I need a ride, this is who's coming to get you. It was like I need a ride, I'm going to pick my ride kind of thing. So it was like different ships. There was like and we would just write based on what they looked like. And the one that I wrote for, I think we each kind of like wrote our own, but then kind of collaborated with someone else in class for it. Some of them I just do not have PDFs for, but the one that I have published on my website, it's called Old Couple, Old Ship. So the ship looked kind of like old and like decrepit and kind of like I don't even know how to Yeah, just I don't know, like some old vessel, like
Dilapidated.
something. Yeah, like the Millennium Falcon, if it was like a cylinder or just one of those like long ships, but like old like that kind of thing, right? So it was just
Mhm.
like an old couple that was just like, we need to go. We're gonna go somewhere, and she's like, the it was like a mm, like the man,
She,
like the rich guy, and then the trophy wife kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't like that she had to stand in line. She wasn't happy
Nope.
about that. She wasn't
Nope.
happy that there was only that ship left, and she wasn't happy with
Yeah.
the marriage in general. She
Oh no, it was a whole thing. Yeah, and he
she
was
just
like, "We're
wasn't
getting a
happy at all.
divorce."
I read the script before we came on, so yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really
Okay.
short, right? It was just really like small bite-sized things. So eventually they did send us a video that they had filmed for it. But for me, like the special effects for like the ship that they were on and everything wasn't like finished or put together. So I have it somewhere. But I could send that to you, Jenny and Delphine. You guys could see it.
That'd
But
be
I
cool.
think the guy playing the old dude was like a prof too. One of the guys that was like organizing this whole thing. Yeah, it was
That
cool.
is
Like you could
cool
literally go
though.
to like the video and you could pick a ship, and then we would have a sketch for it. That was the idea.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever written that
That
went
was
to
really
film.
cool.
Writing a screenplay is hard as hell.
Yeah,
If you aren't
like
used to that format,
it's so fun though. I love writing dialogue. So for me, it was even with like my stories, like in a lot of my fan fiction or something, I'll just have like like a dialogue, and then maybe like a little bit in between them more dialogue. So it's just like it was
Oh yeah.
really easy for me to adapt to it. But like when I was getting feedback from like my profs and stuff, because I'm also like used to prose, it was like they were like, you need to tone down the description. Because I would do like a paragraph of like setting the scene because that's what I'm used to, right? So,
right?
Oh yeah. But
yeah,
there is a
that's the challenge with it.
very largely different the screenplay writing, the audio drama writing
Yeah,
compared to the book writing. Thank you,
Comic book
sweetheart.
writing too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah.
The it's a mindset that you have to get into.
Yeah, literally. You're gonna like literally like imagine it in your mind, but then also how it would look on television or like wherever you be
Mm.
writing it for, like
I,
or how on the page if you're doing a comic, right?
I love seeing the scripts for different things. We were fortunate to have D.D. Chichester on a while ago, and he gave us two different scripts, and one of them was for the new Daredevil that he's working on, and he
Ooh.
was working with somebody who he's really familiar with as an artist,
Mhm.
and so he writes that in a very different way than what he wrote for this new series that he's working on, Axel's Infernal, that he's trying to get launched on a Kickstarter right now.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see, like, because some people go panel by panel and explain each thing, and
Yeah.
and some of it's just like, okay, just do this, go crazy. I know that you know what I'm looking for here.
Yeah.
But
The trust. The trust with that is
yeah,
immense.
yeah, and way back in the day, they didn't have that because they didn't know who would be. It was like you turn in the writers would turn in their stuff, and it was just a toss up on who got assigned that week to be writing on your comic, or
Yeah.
drawing and lettering and everything. And so it was just like, yeah,
Comics
you
are a
hope that they know what to do.
process.
I've been learning so much about them lately, and like I was a collector, but and everybody's writing on books is different. But that screenplay stuff, oh, my nephew did one in high school. He went to an arts program, and that was their final. He was the screenwriter, and then kind of like you were saying, they had different people that were in the acting part and editing and everything else. And it was just like he'd set everything up. They got it all filmed and stuff, and then there was like students having problems doing things, and so if you don't have everybody working together on the same page, there
Yeah.
ends up being a lot of problems towards the end. It's like, oh, this person dropped out, they were the editor.
Yep. Like
Great.
We actually like
Wow.
Okay.
I remember we lost like one person on the anthology, like when everything was like being put together after we sent in the stories. Like everyone had done the contract except for this one person, and it was just like, well, if I don't get the contract from this person by this time, we're just ditching their story. And I was like, how do you forget about this?
She
Or
didn't
like,
forget. She had thoughts, and she had decided to go with those thoughts.
oh, okay.
And so, not on air, but she had
Fair,
made a
fair.
decision, and we are going to respect her decision,
Okay.
and we are
That's
not
fair,
going to go
yeah.
against her wishes. That is the idea there.
Okay. Sorry, I was like assuming. I'm sorry. It just felt weird. Like it was like, oh, okay. Okay, we've lost somebody. Okay, that's fair. Like,
That does happen sometimes.
yeah.
If something comes up, or say there's been a delay in a book being produced, something goes on if you're with a small time publisher and they're having
Yeah.
like personal problems, so they can't get something released when they said they did.
That's super
Okay, they've
fair.
something that's been sent in could be published somewhere else instead, or something like that. So it's just like, I can't wait on you, which
Yeah.
I don't think it's the nicest thing in the world, but
Yeah.
if you have a story and you need to pay bills and you got some place that wants it,
And
it's
since Patty had
what you
already
do.
set everything up with the publishing company where the
Mhm.
place where the books are coming out, so she had already had a deadline set up. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, she couldn't wait any longer on that person.
Yeah. And that's valid. Like I mean, like there's life and then there's just like if you're signed up for this thing, it's like if you can't keep like keep to the deadline that they set, then it's just like maybe next time kind of thing, right? Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, life happens, right? So
I've decided that if I have a story out, it's currently dead. It doesn't get to do anything. I have an anthology that I was invited to submit something to, and I don't, as far as I know, it was, you're only allowed to submit if you're invited, but I could be wrong. I,
yeah.
I didn't see any open submission calls anywhere for it.
Mhm.
And it was due in April, and there were 2 anthologies being released, and one of them is being released now, and I still haven't heard anything back about mine, and it's in like what's apparently going to be the next anthology. And it's like, damn, I was going to enter both of them, but I finished this one up first, and they released the other one first, and I hadn't finished up the story for that, so I should have maybe worked hard. But either way, I wouldn't have made it on time if I would have tried to get both of them done.
Yeah.
And so it still looks bad if, and this was the better story. But so I've been sitting here since April just waiting to hear, like, did it make it through, am I going to be in this book?
Yeah, like
is this book still going on?
it's like
What happened here? I haven't heard anything back at all, but
yeah, Patty was
You
really
know.
good with communicating like what's going on and stuff because once we were in, I was like, so now what? Like edits,
Oh yeah.
okay.
Yeah, she let me edit mine twice, send it back in, and she's like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
like,
this is good."
I had to force myself to stop reading mine because I kept finding things that I wanted to fix, and I was like, nope, this is it. This is the last edit. Done. Like no more. Because I could
something
go
I
on.
enjoy, something I really enjoy with Patty and with Stefan too, is that if you're in the book, you can read all the stories, to see how everything's going.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be an editor and you see some mistakes, you can send them to her.
Yeah.
And she will
really
check them out because I'm one of those people that if my name is going to be on something, I want everything to be as perfect as possible.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like criticize other writers, but it's like, oh, there's just a couple typos here. It's easy to miss. But
punctuation.
I think I'd mentioned this. Yeah, I think I'd mentioned this to you before when we were just talking outside of stuff. That's another reason I read fan fiction, is because there's enough mistakes, usually even in a well-crafted story, that you pick up on everything. You're trained to see every single thing that's wrong.
Yeah.
So it just helps, and you're like, okay, reading this. Oh, this person used lightening instead of lightning.
Yep.
They're wandering down the halls. Oh, dear.
They used a period and then a question mark. Period, question mark.
I get hung up on little things like, no, it's comma than a capital letter for babe or dear or mom or whatever, itty bitty little things like that, but they bother me.
Yeah.
But then again, I have to go through, I consider my final edit on most works because almost everybody when I was in high school, it was period, double space, start the next sentence.
Okay.
That's what you did.
Mhm.
And now,
Not
for
anymore.
nearly every book
No.
that I've read, you can't submit that way.
I
And
haven't
so
needed to
I
do
write
that
that
yet.
way.
Changed it, and
I-
they've put PSAs out now. You must change this to this, and I'm like, none of that makes sense, but okay.
No.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. So I go through, and that's like I save my draft, and then I go through and do the different formats. But my final edit on every piece is going through and rereading and taking off the second space, so that I have to read it line by line by line to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so I do still purposefully write, because I cannot get out of the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
Like I can't do Twitter because I put double spaces.
Yeah.
It's like those count against me.
No.
I've given up on Twitter.
Refuse to abbreviate things. I will write my sentences as
I will
sentences.
do this
so
myself.
Screw you.
Yeah.
No, post it somewhere else.
Like I always end up noticing little things that I like, because when you're writing it, like you just want to get it out, right? And with me, when I was writing this, I was like, when I was writing Cult of Blood, I was like a little bit rushed because I wanted to have it. I think we had to have it in by August 1st, right? I think that's what it was. So I spent most of July playing a few days. Literally went all like as if I was writing for an few days when I was actually writing it. So I was like, this can like with the editing and everything, it was like better than I expected. But then I was reading through it myself and I was like, oh, I didn't mention this. I didn't mention that. Oh, like why? Who's talking here? Did I post that? Like I didn't. Like I like sometimes I worried that I was kind of unspecific on some things. So the last thing that I actually added was when in the beginning that they were actually given bowls, because I think though before I read through it one time for the last time I realized like wait, so they go into the room and they see everyone with bowl. Did they get a bowl? Fuck. So I read that they actually like were handed a bowl so that they could participate in this like cult ceremony. It's like, how did I not think of that at the time? Like, that was embarrassing, but I figured it makes sense now. But
yeah, well, it is little things like I mentioned to you before when again we all had chat off air before you guys.
yes,
so
we did.
We
chatted
missed out
quite a bit.
But I've edited for somebody who the weapon that they use in the final part of the battle scene is something that they dropped 3 pages before then. And a guy who is like, and so I'm like, do you want me to just have him pick one up from one of the fallen soldiers along the way? Can you just write that in? Because it's easier than me going back. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so
that makes
he
sense.
did this. Yeah, this guy, you had him on the injured wagon, and now he's like leading a charge. I don't think that happens that fast. He's like, probably not.
And then the one where you mentioned it was like, oh, this guy died like 3 times.
Yeah, his universe cross everywhere. I have another great one from him though too. Like, so I'm not going to say names. He's a fabulous author, and but I don't want to embarrass him by having say something. But his universe is cross everywhere, and yes, he killed off the same guy like 3 times, and then there was a 4th appearance of him. I'm like, is this the same guy? And he's like, no. And then it turned out it was just like, because I was like, because you did this to him in this book, and he's like, all of those guys were named the same thing. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, that was my old roommate's name in college. He was an asshole. I guess I just keep killing him. So I'm like, yeah. But he had one scene that kind of didn't make sense in his story, and it was like that these people would be accepted into a specific. I'm going to try to lead it away from what the actual book is, into a specific program in a city if they were literate. And they were like, they could be part of a thing where they were like, kind of like being old-fashioned scribes, just writing down and what do you call it when you're rewriting something? Just transcribing, I guess, making copies.
Yeah.
Yeah, just making copies of books and stuff that existed. And it was a place where a lot of people were poor. And so it was like he shows up in rags, and I was like, and they give him clothes and everything, I guess. And this person was trying to help him get in. because it was for a spy type of thing. Like they were trying to have him infiltrate. And so I'm like, well, maybe the other person could help them a little bit more, because it seems really weird that they would just take anybody off the street who shows up and is literate to be able to do this job. And I was thinking that this person would maybe like get them slightly better clothes, give them a bath, a shave or something, so they show up looking like more of a professional person. And instead, I sent that suggestion to him, didn't say exactly what, but just that something needed to change. And he sends back, and it turned out, it works really well. But what they would do then is, if you got accepted into the program and started doing such work for them, they would give you a lobotomy that would affect your ability to run away or to do anything other than functionally right and stuff. And so I was like, well, that was different. That really wasn't. I was thinking of I was thinking of a bath and some clean clothes. Instead, you just gave hundreds of people lobotomies. Okay. I mean, it's dark fiction. I'll give it to you, and it does. Yep. It makes it more exciting too. It was just not at all what I was thinking of when I gave you that suggestion.
Honestly, as long as it fits in with the genre, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was just because it explained why they'd be willing to take people in rags and because we're just gonna set them up in little cells and lobotomize them so that all they do is right. That's all. We have to kind of have somebody spoon feed them a little bit while they drool. But just
that's so freaking weird. But I love it.
It is the strangest feedback to editing that I've ever had. Yeah, suggest oh, you've had this lady pregnant for 3 years. Oh, okay, I'll fix that. Yeah,
for 3 years. I'm still get good of 3 years. Yeah, well, unless it's a sci-fi reason, and maybe she's a certain, I don't know, species or something. But
he just kept forgetting to have her give birth. He wasn't sure if she was going to have the baby before or after this war, and it was set in historic times, so it was horseback and ships were the modes of transportation that were able to be used. And so she was pregnant when they went off, and then she hadn't had the baby yet when they came back. And so he had been trying to decide whether he was going to keep her having been pregnant then or make it so that she got pregnant. And he just forgot to decide. And so
I love it.
Yeah, she needs to have that baby soon, because she's running a little late.
Yeah.
She's gonna have a walking baby, and this is weird.
Yeah,
it was a month late. 3 years is wow.
Yeah,
that's
a lot. For a baby.
Yeah, I mean, there were gods and stuff involved in this, but
Someone's thinking,
but the gods were involved with that pregnancy. They were just around. They're we're gonna keep her pregnant forever.
Yeah, if that was. See, if the gods were controlling it, and if they were involved, that does make sense. That would make sense.
But this
just forgetting about it. That's kind of that happens. You forget things. You get to go into your story.
When you have a cast with 20 characters that you need to follow, you do lose track along the way, which is why you need editors, to go through.
Well, you need editors, and you need highlight colors for each person.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
Give each person their own color for dialogue and whatever, and then you'll have a visual reference of what they're doing to start out with. That's what my teacher had told me to do once.
Yeah.
Because,
in one of my whips, I was or works in progress or whatever. I was reading through it, and I forgot where I left off. I was what had happened? Had this happened? Did they do this? Did I bring in this character or whatever? So I kind of scrolled through a bit. I don't even know how many chapters in I am. I think I'm 8 chapters in, and I still feel I'm in the beginning, right? But so much has happened, so I'm because I always feel I need to move it along, right? It can't just be 5 chapters of intro, depending on depending on what it is. You gotta have the inciting incident, right? So I have that happen in like the first chapter. So like everything just like races ahead, right? So 8 chapters in almost feels like the middle of the book. So that might end up being like a little less than I thought. But yeah, like I had to like it's been so long and I barely focus on it. So like it's kind of weird when you go back and it's just like remember. I feel like I really should do this. I should make a point for like as I'm reading through it, I should make it like a point form thing of what happens in each chapter so I don't have to like read it every time.
Well, you can have one document that is like side document that is the bullet point of what should happen, and then you could
Yes.
have the document that you're writing. Because many authors, N.J. Sullivan, his bullet points are literal index cards, and one of them was this thick of index cards, which is the story alone.
Yeah. Like the
Ah,
So how you do your bullet points could be a document, it could be a notebook.
yeah.
Because I know D. Gabriel Jensen, she has a notebook,
Nice.
spiral that she does. So do
Yeah.
what works for you.
Yeah. Like
and
9 chapters. I'm 9 chapters in. That's what it is.
and for the love of all that is sacred, if you are doing a Google Doc review back and forth with your editor,
Yeah.
do not make a new version of it every single time you send it to your editor.
Oh, good lord, no. No, I know what updates every time. Girl, don't you know Google Docs? Google Docs like
Well,
updates as you
yeah,
edit it, right?
yeah, I had to make I have all these little um, instruction manuals, and some of them are for different things. Some of them are for people on podcasts learning how to do these things, and some of them are for authors that I've worked with learning how to do. It's like how to Word, how to
How
Google
to
Doc, how to template, how to do this. But it
Yeah.
was like I would, if you send the review and you just keep it in the review, it'll show everything that has been talked about being changed, and then you can have the like responses of, okay, I changed this, or I'm not changing this
Okay.
because,
Yeah.
and stuff in the dialogue. But they would just make a new copy of it every time, so I wouldn't get any of the information left that I had done before. So I'd try to change things like 7 times, and they'd be like, well, quit trying to change that. I'm not going to change that. I'm like, you aren't letting me know why, and
Yeah.
it keeps
Like
being wrong, and you need to send me back the same copy. We need to keep working on the same copy every time. You don't send me a new one.
yeah.
And it's so frustrating to
Uh-huh.
but it's just a skill that you don't think about telling somebody to do that until,
Yeah.
and it took me a couple times to realize, I'm like, wait, okay,
What is
they've
it?
apparently gone through everything, and
Yeah.
but
What are they
wait,
doing?
this is different.
Why?
Yeah, then I matched it up with my original ones. I'm like, okay, this isn't the same at all. So yeah, so I wouldn't see like they'd make major changes, and it was like, oh, I'd have to read through detailed every single point again because it wasn't highlighting any new material for me. So
Yeah.
people, please do that. Be friendly to your editor.
Yes.
Don't hurt them.
Like no, like
You can break
would
an
be
editor
helpful.
so easily.
you gotta like yeah, they do both ends. Everyone needs to coexist. You know, like
Oh yeah.
I always get nervous like sending anything off to an editor. Like it might just be like because when I've done Game Rant articles, they edit them, right? So I'll always be like, man, I haven't done this in a while. It's done. It's sent off or whatever. And then like they come back with stuff that I forgot about, like formatting, or maybe I didn't. There's been a couple of times when I forgot to put a heading image. I was like, oops. I had the picture cropped and everything, and I didn't even upload it. But like, do this. Maybe you need to change this and that. Like, it definitely works because there's like some specific formats that they have, but I'm like, okay, like it was
yeah.
good though, right? Like there's the way, just the way, because it's like a website that's articles and stuff. It's a little colder than it is when people are doing it for fiction. So like, I guess I just get like, oh no, I did a boo boo. I'm sorry. But,
Is that like Screen Rant?
yeah, it's the same company.
Okay.
It's under the same umbrella. So Screen Rant would be, like movies and TV shows and stuff. And Gamerant kind of
Yeah.
has movies and TV shows, but it's mostly they focus on video games a bit more and anime. They have
Okay.
anime stuff, but
Okay.
yeah, it's mostly it's kind of weird because Screen Rant is like literally like the same logo but with an S and different colors. But like
Well,
I feel like a lot of stuff that Screen Rant does, Game Rant does, but they're both under the same umbrella.
we have Drew wrote for and is working on getting back into writing for Screen Rant, and then I have another friend who writes for him too. So I just
Nice.
I'm going to break in here because I've been curious and I always forget to ask them. Do they put in all the links to stuff, or do you have to come up with that on your own?
So we
Because
do
when
have
it's
to
like
do
whenever,
that. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So the links that because they want you to link to articles on the website so people stay on the website, right?
Yeah.
So you
I've
have to
spent
have
hours.
yeah. So like they ask you to have at least one link per paragraph, depending on the article. For my news articles are like 400 words, so they're like super short. And I've seen for editorials and stuff that it's like once in a while they'll have a link, but it's not essential to having it at once per, or like even lists. It's not what you don't need to have it once per paragraph, but for the news articles you do. So it has to be like text that has to correlate with the article you're linking to, but it also has to relate to the topic of the article. So like the last one I wrote for example, I think it was like um someone on Reddit did fan art for The Witcher that was like if The Witcher was a Telltale game. So like that kind of cel shaded look. I think it was an AI image, so it was like it was cool, but I was like, it's AI. But like it was a good like representation of what it would be if The Witcher was a Telltale game. And so the links that I had to you always have to link to the tag page of like for like say in this case The Witcher so that they can like check out other Witcher articles. And then it'll be like if I'm talking about like another instance in a game where there was like a glitch or something, or if there was like another article about like a Telltale game, I'll like tag like link an article about like a recent Telltale game or something like that, right? Like stuff like that. And then like the related and the next ones I also have to do, and it's like it has to do with like the software that we use to post the articles and send them off to the editors. So it's like it's almost like an insert when you have to write the whole article on that little dialogue box that they have on the software, because they have it perfectly formatted, and you can like post the Reddit link for whatever you're writing about if it's for Reddit, and it like shows up the way exactly when you look at a preview, it shows up exactly the way it would if it was on the article. So it's all like kind of set up in a way for like everything to just be like you put it together, and then like it's just posted once it's like finished editing and everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that. I've been curious. Like a lot of those things, it's like, wow, there's so many links and stuff, and that has to just be annoying to go through and be like, okay, I got to research what else is related that's been published about my article by somebody else. And
yeah, I just end up like doing it on the fly. So they give us at least 2 hours max, or an hour and a half ish max, to write the articles, because it is like 400 words, right? Like once you know what you're writing and you do the paragraphs that they're supposed to be done, it is pretty quick. But it's for me, it's like looking up the articles to link that would work like well enough, and like all the links and stuff like that. So like I always have like like the tab for the software, like the tab for the post, so that I can go back and like so that's what the image is that I'm writing about, kind of thing. And then like 12 million tabs of Game Rant articles that I could have like possible links. So like I literally have to like open a new window for if I'm doing an article. So it's like that's
totally
the only time lately that I'll have so many tabs. Sorry.
It makes sense. I totally understand that. When I was setting up Dell's page, I had like 15 different pages open trying to find interviews and stuff that they had done so they could be shared.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I have so many. There's a. I want to find it. There was some like company that was it was like a charity organization, and you didn't have to do anything except subscribe to it. You never had to pay them. Like they didn't ask for credit card information or anything, but they would have access to your computer. And for as many tabs as you had open, if you were a person like us who uses lots of tabs, it somehow would donate to charity. Like I don't know if it tracked down like people who advertised on those tabs and like got from them or something. I have no idea how, but it was like, are you somebody who uses a lot of tabs? You're spying on me, aren't you? Because you know that I have like, I'm like scrolling over to like, where was that? Jesus. Okay, pages and pages and pages. Okay, there it is.
There it is.
On the other one. Yeah, I found it. I had it 4 times. Okay. But yeah, so I'm like, well, I might as well, since I'm a disorganized mess, be like donating to charity for that.
Yeah, might as well. Like, I mean, might as well have a way to help someone out. You're helping yourself out with all those tabs.
When you realize you have 58 tabs open, you should probably start closing some.
Honestly, we don't talk about how many tabs I have open on my Chrome on my phone. Like, literally, because you can just save.
I didn't know
stuff,
how to turn
right?
those off.
I keep them. I need to make sure I save things. You know, I'm a bit of a hoarder.
There should be 3 little dots.
Oh
okay, yeah. Mom and I don't know how that works, and Mom's always like, "Yeah, my phone's always running so slow." And like one of the kids grabbed it and was like, "It's because you have over 100 tabs open, and
I have 86 open."
And I'm like, "How do you turn that off?" And they're like, "Grab my phone." Christ, you have 40 open. Okay, we're gonna go see this button, and I'm like, yeah, how do I get there? You hit this, and they did it so fast I still have no idea. Every now and then I'll just see that little number and I'll be like, okay, I can hit that, and then I can close everything. So I'm getting better.
Fair, like some of it is fan fiction my friend sent me that I plan to read, but are also like, you know, they are marked as, you know, what is it? It's not marked as read.
Bookmarks.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a thing you have. I can't think of it. Marked for later. They're all marked for later. So, like, but I have so many things marked for later, right? I'm just like, oh, what if I want to read this thing right now?
I have a running list with Dell in our chat, and have a running list with my sister in our chat. And I just go back and I scroll back for like months, and then I click it, and then I finally read it.
What I'll do is just go ahead and pull up my account and send you my favorites list. You know, because that would be easier.
To post all this stuff in. Can we just post it in the group too?
Well, yeah. I mean, I could copy paste it. That's just
I'm just asking.
It's a lot.
Post in the group. It's our group. We can do whatever the heck we want in the Owl Society group.
We can. Yeah. Look, fanfic page now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it can be our fanfic group. It can be whatever we want. We're the society. We get to choose what the society does.
Yeah.
Yes, you can join the society.
Okay.
Well, we're the army. The society's the show.
Okay. Well,
okay.
I will send you links to random shows, and if it's just a random link, it's a BS show. If it's hey, this is the scheduled link for this, would you like to read a story?
Yeah. Sure. Like my friend and I, we like to watch kind of boys love shows together. Not always, like mostly kind of like Asian shows. Like we've watched Thai shows, Japanese shows, Korean shows, right? But we've also gotten into like the like English stuff that's been put out, right? Like we've watched Good Omens. We've watched like Our Flag Means Death, right? Yes. And like, I kind of got her into all these shows anyway, but we were like, I remember distinctly, once her and I watched Our Flag Means Death, the first season, like, way after it came out, but I had seen it and I was like, girl, you gotta watch this. So we watched it together when she stayed over one weekend. And immediately, like for weeks and months after, she was reading the fic. I know she reads a lot of fic, but like I know that she was reading a lot of them, and she would send me links and links and links of her favorites. Like I would get like I would have like 12 messages like my my friend sending me all these links, and it's like, this is what this is. Fun smut, really cute fluff. Like she'll give me little previews too, so I'll just be like, open, mark for later, open, mark for later. She hasn't done that after Good Omens, and she hasn't done that after the. Okay, we haven't finished the new season of Our Flag Means Death together, but I've finished it myself. But yeah, like she, it was just it depends. She's really fixated on like, okay, I'm gonna out her, but I'm not gonna name her, so it's fine. But she's been, I think I mentioned this last time, but she's been really, really into like Teen Wolf fan fiction, specifically Steric, and she has not seen the show at all. She just like all I ever hear is like, so I'm still reading Teen Wolf. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but have you watched the show yet? No. Still reading fic.
Okay. So, you got to add Hannibal to your list of shows.
Mads Mikkelsen. It's so hard for me to find a place to stream it. Like,
oh, I didn't think about, yeah.
It's on YouTube probably, but they had it on Netflix for a long time ago. And then like I watched one episode and I was like, I'll get back to this. I like this, but I'll get back to this. And then, time went by and now it's just not on Netflix anymore. I'm like, it's not on Prime, it's not on Netflix. Where do I go?
Yeah, and the thing is people, I've had a lot of friends who are like, that was a terrible police procedural. I couldn't get into it at all. I'm like, that is not a police procedural. That is a romance. So you throw everything else out the window.
You have to see it as a romance.
Yeah, you got to watch it as a romance. And then it's beautiful, and like he was a dancer, Mads Mikkelsen. So every like slight turn of his head and every single gesture is very calculated through the whole thing. And all of the camera angles are tight. I want to say this and not in the like, it is a sexily filmed show and not in like an erotic fashion. It is just well done of producing a show. But I will warn you that a lot of the fanfic for that turns into Omegaverse, which is something that people who are not into really need to know about before they jump into there. It started with Sherlock loosely, and then it became a thing. And there is a fairly decent amount of Omegaverse fan fiction if you're reading the fanfic side, but usually it says ahead of time.
Okay,
like that's so you know.
Yeah,
because it can be a shock.
I've never actually like read or been into anything that's Omegaverse, but like, okay, you know what? That's a lie. But like, I think I read a couple of MLM novels, like gay novels that were kind of like shifters and stuff. Not specifically werewolves, but kind of like wolves, and they had those dynamics. But I also have informed myself on what it is. So I get it without reading it. So I love that. Like, I just knew exactly what you said.
Yeah, it was a shock to me when I was like, oh, okay, so that's
we're doing this now.
For those of you unfamiliar, there is a universe in fan fiction. Mm-hmm. It is called the Omegaverse. Yep. It usually includes shifters of some sort. Your characters are committed shifters. Mm-hmm. There are the alphas who get to lead things in society. There are betas, which are kind of below them, but give off less pheromones. There's a lot of pheromones and like wolf type of tendencies here.
Yeah.
And Omegas can kind of be taken by, they are the ones who need to be protected. And oftentimes they are taken, and then various erotic things happen, a lot of traumatizing things usually for Omegas. And as with animals, or with dogs in particular, when they mate, there's a certain period of things that happens afterwards where they are stuck together, and it can be very uncomfortable to read if you are not ready for it.
Yeah,
And if
you
it's
need
not
to
something you're
know.
interested in. There are some that are written great where it's nothing physical happens. It's just, the hierarchies and things and how that works. So it doesn't always have to be erotic, but
Yeah.
it is a weird universe to get into if you aren't expecting it. There are probably articles online that explain it better than I do, but I wanted to be as concise and as possible. So
Yeah.
but
It's helpful.
Sherlock has a lot of that, as does Hannibal, for some
That,
reason.
that doesn't surprise me. Like, I get why it's weird for like Hannibal to turn into that, but I mean, I also like with how you're saying that like the show was like made and what I remember, sorry, shot and like the way it was framed and cinematography and all that. From what I remember from watching the first episode, I get it, but it is a weird direction.
Will Graham, the second main character, he is a very timid individual with a lot of things. He has like he's very empathetic with everything and has his ability to go into the perpetrator's mind, but that also leaves him. He has a couple mental problems, and so he is very cowery, which makes him the perfect Omega. So I'm a
That's
Okay, let's we are approaching 2 hours. Was
we
there
are
anything else on your
going off.
list that we haven't got to yet? Because I want to make sure we got everything.
I'm sorry.
All the things are important. Just as important as the fanfic.
Yes, always.
Sorry.
Did you? Sorry, you were asking if there was anything else I wanted to talk about.
If there was anything else you had on your list or you wanted to add about Kaitlin, because Caitlin's important.
I am.
I want to know about Kaitlin. Kaitlin, cupcakes.
Cupcakes. I don't
It's
think
like
there's
when I saw your
anything-
profile picture on the dang it, the site. I cannot the
on my
word
website.
No, the profile picture on Discord. I'm like, I must talk to this person because she loves both Crowley and Zerfil like I do. And I hope we
Yes,
can become friends.
it was. Yes, I tend to either have my picture. It was like my ship of the moment, or like some funny picture or whatever. But I was about to say, I was like, yeah, the one on my Instagram's nice, and like so is the one on Facebook. That one's a little old. Blah blah blah.
My
But
Instagram
no,
and
like
Facebook is the husband with the pretty owl he got me. So yeah.
yes, I saw that.
He
Like
was awesome. He got me an owl.
I love owls. Owls are so cute. Birds are cute. I think birds in general, man, except for geese. Well,
Owls,
And
flamingos, and
sometimes
chickens.
geese. Geese can be cute when they're, far away.
Not when they're not coming after your 2-year-old. They're
Oh
beautiful.
God!
When they're coming after your 2-year-old, it's like no.
Is there anything you guys would want to know that I didn't mention? Like I talked
the
about
moment?
yeah.
With as far as I've dived into the Caitlin, I don't have any other ideas to talk about at the moment. I haven't done as deep dive as possible because multiple things happened since I asked you to become a guest on the show.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, we were trying to organize for like Wednesday, and I was like so worried. I was like, "Oh no, did she forget? Am I like?"
I had pre-op, and then my body reacted to pre-op,
That's
and
okay.
then I'm like, please, I just need a nap because my head's going to explode, and I was like, yay, she understands.
Of course, girl. Like I wouldn't. I'm like, I'm just glad to be interviewed, and I'm just glad that people liked my story enough to put it into an anthology.
We want your stories, we want your fan fictions, we want your articles, we want all of that. That will make the world better.
I've actually been
And
thinking
at
if
some point, I hope you
yeah.
check out Kate Marie's books, the nearest series. I'd be grateful for that too, please.
Yes.
Because Shane and Philip, you must talk with me about Shane and Philip. Shillip.
Okay, you'll have to. Those are books you're recommending?
Yeah,
What'd you
that's
say?
a 5-book series I'm recommending.
Okay. You might need to send me something about that. I'm
I will
interested.
send a link later after the
Okay.
show. But okay.
There was one thing. Yeah, I have been thinking because that novel I was talking about earlier that has
Mhm.
to literally like I've wanted to like if I ever publish it, I thought about like using Faycore because like
Ooh,
it kind of literally because it has Fae in it that it
I
might
do
like
everything.
like
Then.
mesh with like whatever vibe you guys go for. Um yeah,
We
so
do
like
everything. We do
that's what I
horror, we do fairy stories, we do romance.
like my whole thing right now is like well, especially with my novels is like fantasy. I can't do anything without throwing something supernatural or fantasy into it. Like
We
this like
want
my
that.
story could have been like
Jenny
a
wants that.
normal romance, but you know, fucking vampires, why not? You know?
So yeah,
Sorry, I woke up with allergies today, so I'm just like,
That's
oh,
okay.
sinus freeze just hit.
I had those yesterday.
Oof.
So, do
Yeah,
you
this
do
has been
any? Do you do any collecting or gaming or what all do you like to do on the side when you aren't writing?
that's a good question. So um I we were talking about this a bit before, Jenny, but I like to watch anime a lot, especially now that I've been getting back into it. Um, and um, I play soccer on like a weekly basis. Like right now, we're playing inside because it's cold up here right now. Um, but I've been doing that like since I was a kid, and it's just like it's it's really fun and I get really 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 into it even though it's literally just for fun, but I get so competitive. um
Nothing wrong
and
with that.
no and I also play D&D with my friends, a group that I've been playing with since university actually.
Wow,
So year not like super long, but like it's been since 2015, 14-ish, something like that.
established
Um
world then going on.
9
yeah, so
years.
we have an established world that we were playing in and it's been so long that we've been playing in that world. And we've been playing in other games like on I've noticed my camera is crap right now and I don't know why, but this we're doing this. Um what was I saying? Yes, D&D. So we were playing Pathfinder in like one world, and then one guy was like, "Hey, I want to make this world where like this is happening." We're like, "Cool!" So we all migrated to that, and we played in that for like 6 years. And
Wow,
then like kind of on and off, and maybe delving into someone else running a game, and then someone else ran another game, and those kind of pittered away. But this game has kept going because like we're all just kind of like still into it. And with those characters, we're up to level 16 now. We got to a point where we can settle them for a little bit. They're legendary kind of now in the world, so they still have stuff to do, but we'll put them on a back burner to go to a different group of characters in the same universe. So it's like my DM has us in the Sword Coast for our original campaign, but now we're in something else that he kind of um made up to kind of be in the same universe. So we'd be like kind of doing the same thing but with new characters and we don't have to start from level 1.
I love that.
Starting from like level 5 or something like that. But yeah, no, it's been fun. But yeah, so I play D&D on the side. Um, and with those same friends, I just like play some games with once in a while. I do play video games. Um, I got back into playing Zelda recently. I have Breath of the Wild, but I'm stuck in it. But I've been playing Skyward Sword recently. I really like that one. Yeah, a lot of some social things,
Oh,
some nerdy things.
All of it
very
awesome.
cool.
And socially nerdy things.
Socially nerdy things. Yes. I like that my friends I've been able to do things outside of D&D too.
That rocks.
Yeah.
It's nice that they have online D&D setups though to make it so that you aren't just each like, here's my dice,
Yeah,
with
we
like roll
we
d20 and
moved
stuff. I
we
don't know if you
all
guys.
yeah, we do that for sure. We can't but after since we once school started ending for all of us, we went back to living in our own separate, you know, towns and stuff. So like
Yeah.
some of us live in like you guys wouldn't know these towns, but like live up north. Some people live closer to Toronto. Some people live in Ottawa. Um little things in very far away. So it just at one point once we all graduated, we just started playing on Skype. Is not the like that as the way to talk to each other. I think we used some map system. I forget what we used before we started using Roll20, but eventually we went to Roll20 and then moved to Discord because that was a lot more reliable than Skype was. And now we're
Awesome.
on to using second edition Pathfinder on Foundry. Yeah. Foundry is so convenient.
That'll
It
be
does
one we.
everything for you.
That's what we'll have to check out because we're thinking of doing a gaming thing with some of the Ally people. So
Yeah. I highly recommend Foundry if you guys can figure it out.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching us about that.
I'm a wealth of random knowledge.
Renata appreciates it too. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna come back again."
Yes, we'll have to send messages when we get started, see what other ideas you have to add that we may be able to use. Because
Yes.
we, like you, are in multiple different places. She's in Nebraska, he's in Ohio, Raz is, and I'm in Texas. So I don't know if you know about any of those states, but you get the idea.
I I know states. I am a
I'm
like
well, I know you know the states, but I mean, I don't know if you know like the like I right now I have a picture of a very cold place with places far away in
yeah.
Canada,
I
but
know
you
nothing
probably
about
have like
Canada.
pictures of like I don't know what you picture for each of the states in your head, what they've taught you compared to what uh it is down here for what's taught,
Yeah.
you know?
I am I am on YouTube, so I follow some YouTubers from American states, right? So I follow
Mhm.
one guy who is in Texas, and I think he's where is he now? He was at blanking. Where that okay, this is gonna be a bad reference to that place, but the one where they had that standoff with that cult that was
Waco.
Waco. He was in Waco for a bit. I love how that's what I know about
Cults,
Waco.
I know it.
He was in Waco for a while, but now he's closer to Houston. So if you guys know anything about um it's a farm. I don't know, it's a rescue farm. Damn it. I literally just
Is he the rescue dog guy?
Uh no, I forget. Big ounce. Hold up. Urban Rescue Ranch. That's what it is. So
Okay.
he's based in Texas, and he has all this land that he bought and stuff, and he has like all these animals that he's rescued. Like he has Rhea, he has like ostriches, he has like two dogs, he has pigs, he has two kangaroos, and like a bunch of chickens and stuff. And he just vlogs about what's going on in the day, right? Like that new farm I think is just closer to Houston.
How do you
Um,
rescue kangaroos in America?
Because people will bring them over as pets, then get
or
their
for meat.
butts beaten, or they will bring them over for meat.
Yeah.
And because they are feral creatures, and then they'll let them loose or leave them in the pasture just to do whatever.
Yeah.
Because people get
Okay.
scared, and then what they do, they just leave it alone after that and let it live or die on its own.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
humans are weird.
Humans are weird.
Okay. That makes sense. I was just like, those wild Texan kangaroos, you know.
Of course, there's wild Texan kangaroos. You'll find ostriches. You'll find a tiger somewhere if you try hard enough.
Yeah. What I know about Nebraska, Nebraska, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I know about Nebraska is that it does snow there. And
Yes, it does.
Lots of people tend to regard it as a place that you can go skiing. Based on what I know from like Big Bang Theory, I guess.
Okay, technically Nebraska is a plain state. We have hills, but we have nothing that qualifies as a mountain.
Okay.
So you could cross country ski, and we have big enough hills to like ride a sled down.
Okay.
We do have the weather. Okay, like the way that we're set up, we don't actually have our own climate. We just borrow one from whichever way the wind is blowing. Like literally,
whichever way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, literally do that.
Wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's I want to make license plates that are like Nebraska, where the sky attacks you, because we get a lot of tornadoes because of the way we're set up.
Yeah,
but we'll get the snow. It's whichever way the wind's blowing, we get their climate coming in to affect us, and we do get just tons of weather. And I live in Lincoln, which has the cone of safety because we're in a bowl.
I've heard of that place. Yeah,
so it goes around us. And then Omaha has Offutt Air Force Base, which is one of the weather bases, and they joke that it has like the Omadome, so they put up like something over there so that they don't get affected by weather. But so I used to live north of both of them, and it was true. It's true. Like you see it coming from down here, and then it will just go up, and it bounces off of our cone and their dome, and lands up top in all the small towns, or down below us in all the towns that get just destroyed every single year, and then they rebuild. So yeah, but the pictures you get if you look up Nebraska weather are insane, because everybody here is nuts. They're like, oh, there's a tornado, let's go drive and see it.
Yeah.
And it's not like the organized people like on the movie with what's her name, where they're like, oh, we're gonna Helen Hunt, where they like all jump in and they have all the equipment and they're throwing stuff out. No, these are just like nuts with their phone and they're like Mazda Miata that are out zooming around. I got my Datsun, hop in, you know, and they're like, yeah, look, you just tore up that thing like 20 feet from us. Woohoo, we got pictures. Like, yeah, we're crazy, but
that's great.
Yeah, and we have corn and some cattle.
Yeah.
So
okay,
that's pretty much us. You can drive through I-80, and once you get past Lincoln, you can get almost all the way to Colorado without you could like just put one of those locks on your wheel and fall asleep with the cruise control on, and it's just a straight line. And we have the watch for wind on overpasses, and people, if you don't come from a place that has wind, people are like, how am I supposed to watch for the wind? You know, and we'll actually, you know, they think it's a story. And we're like, yes, we've heard that joke many, many times. But seriously, watch out. Some of them will have little flags, but a lot of those blow off.
Yeah.
But
I totally understand how to watch for the wind. I've had cones open up above me, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah. Or you see the semis that are like, you know, they start getting just moved over on the overpass.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but that's what we mean, folks. You're gonna get blown over.
You see what the trees are doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're watching for the wind.
Yeah. I've been blown backwards in Lincoln before. When I used to ride a bike to work, we have it, like I said, we very little elevation, but there's like some small slopes, you know, that I was going down one, and I was riding my bike, and I had my hair super long, and it would always be like blowing behind me, or it would blow ahead of me and like turn corners before I would get there.
Mm-hmm.
And the wind tunnels that we have that are built up downtown by the buildings are like so, they direct it so well that I was literally like standing up, pressing on the pedals to try to go forward, going on a bit of a downhill slope to get to work because I was being pushed backwards by the wind.
That's
in town.
Scary.
Tunnels are painful at times.
Oof.
Okay, guys, we are at
Sorry.
2 hours.
I know
Let's
we've been going
end it
off
here, and oh yeah, please stay after. Okay, Kaitlin, and
Okay.
how about we tell each other, tell each other. Let's tell our guests. Let's tell the audience where to find us.
All right. Well, my camera is like 1 frame a second, but we'll we'll do this. So my Instagram is at Katie Cuppy Cake. And I post a lot on there. My Tumblr, I'm like just looking that up. What are my names again? Is also Katie Cuppy Cake with 2 I's in Katie. So it's KAIITY Cuppy Cake with a K. And Twitter is about the same. Oh wait, no. Twitter is under Kaitlin Meaney, because that's my writing Twitter. If anyone wants to see me posting my fan fiction there. Whenever I post fan fiction, I always, not really on Instagram, but I post it to at least Tumblr and Twitter. So follow me there. And yeah, keep a lookout for anything else I got going on.
Okay.
Awesome.
Del.
Hey, you can find me right here on the Owlite Network. I am pretty much always on Sundays when we do our Thank Cthulhu at Sunday rotation with either The Clutch or Owlite Society, Padded Cells, sitting around doing storytelling stuff. You'll find me on Tomb of the Terrible most of the time, which is currently every other Monday. I believe we're going to be rotating seasons here pretty soon. And you can look up this host goes by Carrie, Kari Sanders. Look for that on Facebook, and all of my other links are there with my author page and everything else. And when I'm not doing all of that, I am over on the Dorkening. I do splash pages over there, and Midweek Geeks when we're up with it. This week on Tuesday, we'll be doing, we don't have any guests on splash pages, so we're going to be doing a read and compare of the Dick Tracy cartoons with the movie and bringing you a lot of news. So hop on over if you'd like to.
That sounds awesome.
I think it's going to be real fun.
It sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
And Jenny's everywhere.
Yes, I'm everywhere. I'm on the Owlite. I'm on the Fake Horror. I'm on, my main stuff is on Friday with the Library and the Blue Box. My group is Friday Blues Disorganized Library. And if you talk to Dell, if you message on her page, you will odds are get me, and then I will send your message to her or answer to the best of my knowledge or pretend I'm her, whichever happens first. So yeah. Thank you guys for being here, Kaitlin and Dell. You have made it a wonderful night.
Oh, thank you for having us. And me.
Bye, Radikosker. Ratatosker. The name of the squirrel is Ratatosker.
Okay. Yes, indoor squirrel.
Indoor squirrel.
Who goes with Delphine Galdracaca.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to even try that yet. But yeah. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Read the anthology.